Following his recent arrest by federal agents in connection to the August 2022 shooting, an attempted hit on Quando Rondo.
Durk has been locked up in Broward County Jail. He's there right now.
Gone for life. In a wild twist that's shaking up the hip-hop world, Lil Durk has officially been taken into custody, and it's not looking good. The man once flying private and living the boss life might now be waving the streets goodbye forever. According to court records, Durk is facing a possible life sentence after being hit with some heavy federal charges tied to a murder-for-hire plot. Yep, you heard that right. The 32-year-old, real name Durk Banks, was booked into Broward County Jail after a bombshell indictment dropped out of Los Angeles. Prosecutors allege that Durk, alongside 5 other members of Only the Family, OTF, was involved in a deadly scheme that involved crossing state lines, arranging a hit on Quando Rondo's circle, and using a machine gun in the process. If convicted, Durk faces the statutory max, life in federal prison.
There are now 5 people in custody who weren't in custody before. 5 people who were alleged to have committed a murder in broad daylight in the middle of the afternoon in the city of Chicago.
Here's the real breakdown. Federal agents just connected 5 OTF members to that August 2022 shooting in LA, the one that took out Quando Rondo's cousin. Here's the wild part. Rondo wasn't just caught in the crossfire. He was the target. And the motive? Straight retaliation for King Von's death back in 2020 outside Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. The street's been whispering, but now the feds are saying it out loud. This wasn't just some random act, it was payback. And guess who they've been zeroing in on this whole time? Lil Durk. Word is the feds didn't even need a snitch to put 2 and 2 together. They've been building the case brick by brick, knowing that if it had anything to do with Von, Durk was pulling the strings. The hit in 2022, just the next chapter in a deadly saga that started the night Von was gunned down. So once the feds scooped those 5 affiliates and hit him with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, was a wrap. All signs pointed back to Durk. The paperwork started stacking. The dots got connected, and when they finally had enough to make the move, they did. Now Lil Durk's facing the biggest storm of his life.
Durk has been locked up in Broward County Jail. He's there right now. This is this. Yes, Broward. He's in Florida. I got the whole thing on. Look on my stream. I got it. Oh my God, bro.
You already know DJ Academics had to be the first to spill the tea. As soon as word broke, he was on it. Dropped a video, then hit X with the bombshell. Breaking. Lil Durk has been arrested by U.S. Marshals and is currently being held in Broward County Correctional Facility. He's awaiting extradition to California on a federal charge of murder for hire related to the death of Quando Rondo's cousin, Lul PB. And just like that, the industry went silent when Cat Williams said 2024 was going to be the year of truth. Turns out he wasn't lying. And now, the heat is officially on F. The crew is sliding straight toward RICO territory. Brand new federal filing labels F as a full-blown criminal organization. According to the indictment, co-conspirator 1 was out here placing bounties on people's heads, anyone he and other members wanted out of the picture, including a target referred to as TB, aka Quando Rondo. But here's where it gets real ugly. The feds say that anyone who helped carry out the hit would get paid or be rewarded with music industry opportunities through F. So now it's not just street stuff. It's organized, incentivized, and tied to career moves. And guess who the feds believe helped bankroll the whole operation? Co-conspirator 3, who is allegedly Lil Durk. They claim he used a credit card linked to F to book airline tickets for the shooters, flying them to Cali to carry out the hit. Same card was also used to cover their hotel rooms. And here's kicker. That card was tied to a bank account with Durk's former manager listed as the owner. Oh, and another card from that account? It was reportedly issued to Durk's father. It's a paper trail that's looking real deadly. Now, here's how it all went down, at least according to the indictment. On August 18, 2022, a squad of hitters used 2 cars, one of which had no license plate, to track and ambush TB Quando Rondo at a gas station in LA. But during the attempt, they missed their primary target and ended up killing SR, believed to be Lul Pab, who was riding with Rondo that day. If you remember the word on the street back then, folks were saying someone leaked Rondo's location. Turns out the feds agree. According to overt act number 2 in the indictment, 1 or more conspirators, including co-conspirator 4, found out TB was staying at a hotel in LA. So who dropped the dime? That part's still a mystery, but best believe the streets are watching. The moment the shots rang out, it was chaos. Prosecutors say the hit squad unloaded at least 18 rounds into TB's vehicle. Several bullets tore through the ride, killing Lou Pab, the man sitting beside Quando Rondo, and after the blood was spilled, they went to grab a meal. The killers reportedly regrouped at a restaurant, scrambled to handle payment for the job, and then made a final critical mistake. At sunrise, They booked flights back to Chicago using the same credit card that had been tied to F and allegedly linked back to Lil Durk's circle. That single detail might have been enough to blow the whole operation wide open. But here's where things take an even darker turn. Lil Durk's federal trial for murder for hire was originally scheduled for January 7th, 2025. But now, it's been pushed back to October 2025. Why? Because this case ain't just complicated, it's unprecedented. According to court documents, the discovery includes over 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, 20,000 plus pages of reports, photos, witness statements, and medical files. But that's not even the wildest part. The real reason the trial got delayed? A newly unsealed affidavit filed by an FBI agent in Chicago. This document ties Durk to a second murder for hire plot, this time for the 2022 killing of Stefan Mack, a 24-year-old gangster disciple leader. While Durk hasn't officially been charged in that case, the feds claim they've got text messages and DMs discussing payment from Durk himself. The hit? Allegedly retaliation for the 2021 murder of Durk's brother, D. Thang, who was reportedly gunned down by GD affiliates. So if the feds are right, this ain't about one hit, this is about a pattern, a calculated campaign of revenge. And that's why Durk's request for pre-trial release was denied. The prosecutors are holding up that unsealed affidavit as proof that Durk is dangerous, a shot caller who's still ordering hits from behind the scenes. In court filings, they made it clear, this affidavit underscores why the defendant cannot be released while awaiting trial. Let's be real. This whole spiral started when fans pushed Durk to slide for Von after King Von's death back in 2020. The pressure, the pain, the pride, it was all fuel to the fire. The voice of the streets is facing life in federal prison, caught in the middle of a war where music, murder, and loyalty all bleed into one.
Here it is. It says, the charges mark the latest fallout from the high-profile killing of King Von. They connecting dots.
To truly understand why Lil Durk might have felt the need to slide for Von, we gotta rewind to where it all began. The altercation in 2020 between Quando Rondo's crew and King Von wasn't just another street brawl. It ended with Von's tragic death outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. And according to the feds, it also set off a deadly chain reaction, one that's still claiming lives years later. As one YouTube commenter put it, it's truly unfortunate that all this mess is happening because of an ego-filled fistfight, and what's left is just a bowl of consequences that Durk might live with for the rest of his life. Real talk. But before we judge, let's talk about why Durk cared so much. Why this wasn't just another fallen rapper to him, it was his brother in all but blood. The evil twin. That's what Von and Durk used to call each other. Durk Banks, born October 19th, 1992, grew up in the heart of Englewood on Chicago's South Side, a place soaked in crime, poverty, and pain. His father was locked up when Durk was only 7 months old. No silver spoon, no second chances, just survival. King Von, real name Davin Daquan Bennett, came from the infamous O Block, another war zone in Chicago. Violence wasn't just a backdrop, it was daily life. He lost homies, fought cases, and still somehow made it out with a mic in his hand instead of a gun. Durk saw something in Von, something real. He didn't just sign him to only the family, OTF. He mentored him, guided him, protected him. Their bond wasn't about business, it was brotherhood. When Von blew up with tracks like Crazy Story and Took Her to the O, Durk was right there. They weren't just rap partners, they were family. And when Von was killed in 2020, something in Durk snapped. You can hear it in the lyrics. You can see it in his face during interviews. You could feel it when he told The Breakfast Club how Von's death changed him. Von, it wasn't just a loss for the label. That was personal. That was my twin, my heart. When fans started screaming slide for Von, Durk didn't just hear noise, he heard a mission. And according to the feds, that mission might have turned into murder.
He got a whole story behind him. You know what I'm saying? He from O Block. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That should speak for itself. But you know what I'm saying? He just real. You know what I'm saying? His music, just a real nigga, just with him. You know what I'm saying? It's my brother, twin.
As their bond grew stronger, Lil Durk officially signed King Von to his label, Only the Family, OTF, a major step that marked the beginning of their professional partnership. Not long after, Von dropped his debut mixtape, Grandson Volume 1, in 2019. The project featured 2 standout tracks with Durk, Crazy Story 2, Zero, and Twin Nem. The mixtape was a success, and Von's raw storytelling quickly earned him a loyal fan base while solidifying the evil twin dynamic between the two artists. But before the music, King Von was already a feared name in the streets. He only turned to rap after beating a murder case in 2017. That close call didn't push him away from the streets. It gave him a platform to talk about them. Von didn't shy away from confrontation, dissing any rapper who dared oppose him. Known member of the Black Disciples, Von frequently targeted STL, a rival gang from just a block away from his home turf in O Block. Growing up in Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods, Von was drawn into gang life at an early age. The appeal of power, protection, and respect led him deep into the violent world of the Black Disciples. He quickly made a name for himself, fearless, ruthless, and respected. His name became synonymous with retaliation. One of the events that boosted his street reputation was the murder of King Doc, a rival gang member. On April 28, 2012, Doc was ambushed by 4 gunmen outside a convenience store. After being shot, he staggered into nearby weeds, where his 16-year-old cousin, Madell McCambry, later discovered his lifeless body. It was a killing that shocked the neighborhood, and it wouldn't be the last. By June 2012, Von was already active on Twitter, often tweeting boldly about street activity and rivalries, seemingly unfazed by the risk of incriminating himself. His tweets became digital war cries, cryptic to outsiders, but clear as day to those in the trenches. King Von didn't just live the street life, he broadcasted it. He openly claimed he was drilling in honor of O.D. Perry, a fallen member of O Block for whom the neighborhood is named. Von often compared himself and his right-hand man, fellow O Block shooter T. Roy, to violent legends, warning his rivals not to disrespect them. His tweets read like confessions. He bragged about shootings as if they were casual acts, expressed a hatred for police, and even claimed he'd been drilling since he was a kid. On August 7, 2012, Von tweeted ominously, "Homicide in the air, it smelled like a graveyard." In the early hours of the next morning, August 8th, that tweet felt prophetic. A group from O Block, allegedly including King Von and T. Roy, was out prowling for enemies. Their target, Dirty Rel, real name Tyrell Joshua, a respected older, affiliate of STL, Eberhart, and Gyro City. Just before 3:30 a.m., Dirty Rel was found dead on a sidewalk on East 56th Street in Washington Park, gunned down in cold blood. That killing marked a deadly turning point. It wasn't just revenge anymore, it was reputation. From that moment on, Von's image evolved from a gang member to something even darker, feared figure rumored to be behind multiple murders. His legend grew with each new body. Melly, P5, Lil James, each name whispered with fear in Chicago's street. Von wasn't just feared because of what he might do. He was feared because of what people believed he had already done. But while Von was climbing the ranks of street legend and stacking bodies, death was silently closing in on him, and he was too hot-tempered to see it. The roots of Von's eventual conflict with Quando Rondo can be traced back to deeper gang and music affiliations. Von's loyalty to Lil Durk and OTF placed him in direct opposition to Quando Rondo, who was closely aligned with NBA Youngboy. The Durk versus Youngboy beef was one of the most well-known and bitter rivalries in hip-hop, and it trickled down to the artists in their camps. The night of November 6, 2020 started like any other for King Von and his crew. They were at Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, a known hotspot for nightlife and celebrity hangouts. Coincidentally, Quando Rondo and his entourage were there, too. The air was thick with tension. Though no one knew it yet, that night would end in tragedy. As the night wore on, things escalated. Surveillance footage later revealed the spark. King Von walked up to Quando Rondo outside the lounge, and, without hesitation, threw the first punch. What followed was chaos. A violent brawl broke out between the two entourages, fists flying, tempers flaring, and confusion everywhere. Then, the unthinkable happened. Timothy Leaks, known on the streets as Lul Tim, a close associate of Quando Rondo, allegedly pulled a firearm. Gunshots erupted. King Von was hit multiple times. Panic spread like wildfire. People scattered, screams echoed, and Von's crew scrambled to get him to safety. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, but the wounds were too severe. Later that night, King Von was pronounced dead. Timothy Leaks was arrested at the scene and charged with Von's murder, but was later released on $100,000 bond, a decision that enraged Von's fans and supporters. As for Quando Rondo, he quickly denied any involvement in the shooting. In interviews, he claimed he didn't even know King Von personally and insisted the entire altercation was an act of self-defense by his team. But to many in the streets, and especially to Lil Durk, Von's death was personal, and from that night on, the street war was back on.
One thing about it, he gonna protect me with anything, which anybody should do.
Rumors circulated that Quando Rondo had tried to take King Von's chain after the shooting, allegations that Quando strongly denied. He accused people of spreading false information and clout chasing, insisting that no one would be thinking about taking a chain in the middle of a shootout.
Rumors circulated that Quando Rondo had tried to take King Von's chain after the shooting allegations, that Quando strongly denied he accused people of spreading false information and clout chasing, insisting that no one would be thinking about taking a chain in the middle of a shootout.
Sure, ma'am. But a chain, ma'am, ma'am, when it comes to jewelry, ma'am, only people with bad intentions who clout chasing and stuff looking to try to take a nigga chain. Ma'am, a $50,000-$60,000 chain, ma'am, like go buy that. That's $50,000-$60,000, like, that's not nothing.
The night of November 6th, 2020 started like any other for King Von and his crew. They were at Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, a known hotspot for nightlife and celebrity hangouts. Coincidentally, Quando Rondo and his entourage were there, too. The air was thick with tension. Though no one knew it yet, that night would end in tragedy. As the night wore on, things escalated. Surveillance footage later revealed the spark. King Von walked up to Quando Rondo outside the lounge, and, without hesitation, threw the first punch. What followed was chaos. A violent brawl broke out between the two entourages, fists flying, tempers flaring, and confusion everywhere. Then, the unthinkable happened. Timothy Leaks, known on the streets as Lil Tim, a close associate of Quando Rondo, allegedly pulled a firearm. Gunshots erupted. King Von was hit multiple times. Panic spread like wildfire. People scattered, screams echoed, and Von's crew scrambled to get him to safety. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, but the wounds were too severe. Later that night, King Von was pronounced dead. Timothy Leaks was arrested at the scene and charged with Von's murder, but was later released on a $100,000 bond, a decision that enraged Von's fans and supporters. As for Quando Rondo, he quickly denied any involvement in the shooting. In interviews, he claimed he didn't even know King Von personally and insisted the entire altercation was an act of self-defense by his team. But to many in the streets, and especially to Lil Durk, Von's death was personal. And from that night on, the street war was back on. Lil Durk before his arrest. In the weeks leading up to his arrest, Lil Durk was celebrated for his contributions to his community. The Grammy Award-winning rapper was honored near his hometown for his charitable efforts with the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. On October 18th, Durk was awarded several keys to the city, including Broadview and Bellwood, two areas near his Chicago roots. This recognition was a testament to his ongoing work and dedication to uplifting his community. For the self-proclaimed voice of the trenches, this was another milestone in a career that had already seen him rise from the streets to stardom. However, in a shocking twist, just a week after receiving these prestigious honors, Lil Durk's key to the city was rescinded following his arrest. On Friday, Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson announced the revocation of the honorary key after U.S. Marshals apprehended the rapper in Florida for an alleged murder conspiracy. Along with the key's return, the village of Broadview also severed ties with Durk's nonprofit, the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. The mayor's statement acknowledged the legal principle that everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. However, she emphasized that in Broadview, the court of public opinion holds its residents to even higher moral and ethical standards. This turn of events was a stark reminder of the consequences that come with a lifestyle entangled in gang culture. The once celebrated rapper was now facing the fallout of his past choices. His legacy seemed at risk, as his past affiliations started to catch up with him. Affiliates began distancing themselves, and the consequences of his alleged actions left many wondering if Durk's empire could survive this storm. For some, like King Von, the consequences were far more tragic, resulting in death rather than a fall from grace. Amidst the chaos surrounding Durk's arrest, rumors began to swirl. Fans speculated whether the F movement, Durk's own affiliates, might be turning on him. Some reports, including one from the Express Tribune, claimed that a member of F had allegedly betrayed the rapper. According to these reports, a longtime member of Durk's inner circle, identified as Jam, had been secretly cooperating with authorities. The informant allegedly wore a hidden wire for several years to gather crucial evidence against Durk, linking him to the attempted murder of Quando Rondo, which had resulted in the murder of Lou Pab, Lil Tim's associate. This shocking revelation sent ripples throughout the industry, as no one could have predicted that an insider would be the one to potentially bring down the empire. Backstory is that Jam, who was released from prison in 2022 after serving 12 years for attempted murder, reportedly provided information directly linking the biggest fish Lil Durk to the murder-for-hire scheme against Rondo, born Twan Terrell Bowman. Say Cheese was one of the first people to report on social media the in-house betrayal of gangster rapper Lil Durk. He tweeted, "Lil Durk Snitch was an F member, and he was exposed for wearing a wire. F Jam allegedly wore a wire for multiple years." He previously served a 12-year sentence. As soon as the news hit the internet, a series of controversies was sparked, with most people wondering how Jam was able to hide the wire for several years without being noticed. Humorously, someone responded, "He was hiding the wire in that big-ass forehead." Another user tried to offer some clarity by saying, "They don't use wires nowadays. Instead, cops give you a small voice recorder that's real sensitive, and you just have to put it in your pocket." However, this user's opinion seemed to be up to date. With technological advancement, it says a wire. My opinion, not a fact. But every device around you is considered a wire. You don't necessarily have to wear a movie wire. Your phone is the wire, I believe. Well, to be honest, using wire to rat sounds like some old school rat thing. I believe technology has moved forward, and so have rats. What was more shocking was the fact that when Jam was in jail, word on the street was that Lil Durk held the ground for him, provided for his family, and paid for his lawyers. During an interview with DJ Vlad about Lil Durk's empire falling flat, Whack 100 spoke about Jam snitching.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
DJ Vlad added that Jam served a 12-year prison sentence for attempted murder, supposedly from 2010. He was released in 2022, coinciding with the time of Lowell Pav's murder. Since then, Jam has allegedly been wearing a recording device to collect information on Lil Durk and F, which has ultimately led to the recent arrests. Amidst Lil Durk's arrest and the discovery of a rat in a household meant for only the family, a 2023 interview with Jam has resurfaced. In the interview with DJ Jerry, Jam opened up about his long-standing relationship with Durk and the support he received while incarcerated. TF Jam recounted how Lil Durk's music helped him to stay motivated, and how the rapper supported him with money and the like while in jail. "I remember Durk was making rap songs for our parties," he added. "That was broke back before the fame and the money he made a way for me to be straight."
I'm saying, my whole time in jail, that stayed, bro. Like, before the money, you know what I'm saying? That was bro. I remember when the money wasn't there.
Lil Durk has rapped about his ability to know when someone is telling on him. He did not see this one coming. Someone said, "To be betrayed by a childhood friend after you looked out for him and then wearing the wire around Durk is insane. It closest ones to you." And I agree. Can only be called betrayal when it comes from someone you call a friend. After all, no one expects any form of loyalty from an enemy. Enjoyed this video? Then click the card showing on your screen for more videos like this.